Okay, so this portion of the podcast will be Toby's interview for his Get to Know Toby video. Toby, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Yeah, well, I've written like a little paragraph because obviously it's one of those that like if somebody goes, right, you can do anything, you're a bit like and there's so many options. Anyways, right. So yeah, my name is Toby. I'm 24. I'm studying sports coaching at uni. Some stuff about me: I'm a massive football fan. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to like sitcoms and stuff like that. Also a bit of a nerd for Harry Potter and Game of Thrones, and I do like watching UFC, and I like watching boxing, and I've done one charity boxing thing, and I want to do another one very soon.
Interesting.
And yeah, I didn't really know what else to say about me. It was one of those where I was like,
Did you win the charity boxing match?
Yes, I did win. It was quite good because we went the distance. I dropped him twice. He got me on one knockdown. I did slip, but it did count as a knockdown. Like, it is what it is. Like, my left foot went off the ground, and then he caught me on the chin. But it was just because I was like swinging around.
Okay. What was your favourite part of the charity boxing match? What was your favourite aspect of the whole thing?
So obviously, my favourite aspect was the fact that all of my friends were there. My family was there. I'd worked really hard in training. So like I knew that it was going to be good, and like you sort of know that there's going to be, in this big event, there's going to be a moment where all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
Best moment, I would probably say, it's probably going to be my second knockdown, because that is what realistically won me the fight. And I hit him with overhand right, and then I got him with a left hook. And I think it was just the fact that the left hook made contact after the overhand right that he went to the floor. To be fair to him, he wasn't on, like, he sort of bounced up quite quick. It just sort of caught him off guard, and then throughout the fight, like, I was knackered, but I just sort of knew that I was ahead on the cards. So as soon as I knew I was ahead, because I dropped him quite early on as well, and I'd thrown a lot more punches, I was just there like, every time he would throw like 2 or 3 punches, in my head I'd be like, right, as long as I throw 2 or 3 punches and keep it even, I know I'm ahead.
Yeah. It's a very like footballer approach of like, as long as we can just keep some possession, almost, like, you know, like park the bus.
Yeah,
and just keep
100%. My football brain came out whilst boxing, and also, I don't know, was I smart or was I dirty fighting? Because I am a little bit of a dirty fighter, I'm not gonna lie.
So I was there, and there was a point where the ref had a go at Toby because it looked like Toby kept spitting out his mouth guard every time the other guy got any sort of advantage.
Well, what was happening was I did spit it out once, maybe twice, but what had happened was every time I went to talk, it would pop out, and it's because my mouth guard just was not fitting right, and it was really annoying. So I had to. So that was making me even more tired, because I was like, "Fuck's sake, I'm gonna lose a point." So I just had to bite down on my mouth guard, and I couldn't really breathe through my nose because I'd been hitting the nose anyways, and I'm very much like, you know, a mouth breather.
He is, I can confirm.
You know, I've seen it. But being in goal is probably the best position for me in boxing, because it's hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, reaction time, hand-eye coordination.
Like, I just got to remember when I'm boxing to move away from something.
Yeah, not dive at it.
Yeah, dive across. Make every single one of their punches look cool, like almost pretend it's like WWE, start selling their hits. They're like, what's going on?
Yeah. You let him, like, you start to like suplex him.
Never let them know my next move.
You climb up on the ropes and jump on it. Oh my god!
I would love it. I would love the fight in WWE.
Yeah, that'd be well cool.
I'd love to sort of get launched through like a few tables or something.
If we ever become famous, we should do that. Rather than doing like influencer boxing, we should do like an influencer WWE event.
No, but if we were lucky and we managed to like get a bit of a following, I'd definitely want to do the influencer boxing.
Yeah, that would be good, and it would just grow the brand. Although I
imagine me representing brosBTalking on Misfits.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good.
On an undercard of like a KSI fight.
Yeah, that'd be huge. That's how we'd know we'd made it then. That'd be insane. I've got a question. This is an impromptu question. Do you think that the influencer boxing has been like degraded by being done too much, or almost like played too hard by the sort of big names?
No, because I if anything, I enjoy it more because we actually get to see the fights we want. And problem in boxing is you don't. It takes so how many? You don't even follow boxing that much, do you?
No.
And how many times have you heard of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury maybe fighting?
Yeah, lots of times, and they're always avoiding each other.
It just doesn't happen. Same with him, AJ and Wilder. It just doesn't happen, and it's just like. But fair play to Francis Ngannou. Like his first year of being boxing, he's stepped in there with Tyson Fury, that arguably won the fight. In my eyes, did win the fight. Dropped him.
Yeah.
And didn't get dropped. And he's going in there against AJ in a couple of months.
That's pretty big. I have to review that fight.
Who do you think will win that fight?
I think AJ. I think it would be a similar outcome.
I think someone's getting knocked out. I don't think it's going the distance.
Do you reckon? The thing is with the proper like pro boxers, they're good at avoiding. The reason why they're literally like the top boxers is because they don't get punched in the head.
Yeah, but Fury's the best at doing that, and Ngannou was all over him. Have you seen the highlights of the fight?
I have seen the highlights. Yeah, I mean, so I heard that some people were saying he was a bit slow and a bit like timid, Fury, in that fight.
Well, yeah, because it's in Ngannou, and I think AJ will do the same.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is in like I reckon it'll go the distance, and AJ will just stay out his way and maybe get knocked down once.
Yeah, no, that very well could happen. I think that is the more likely thing to happen. But my bet is, I reckon it's going to end by knockout. I don't think it goes to decision, and I want them both to win. I'd love Ngannou to win just for the story, but if Ngannou knocks out AJ, that's it.
He hits really hard.
If AJ knocks out Ngannou, then he looks at Fury and goes, look, everyone that you fought and beat on decision, like I think there's like 3 or 4 fighters they both fought, and Tyson won on decision, and AJ's gone and knocked them out.
Yeah.
If he's there, like, look, you fought Ngannou, did not drop him, and he dropped you, and arguably he beat you. When he fought me, I knocked him out.
Yeah.
And AJ is past that all nicey nice stage. He is in that like killer mode of like, right, okay, I need to be in that killer mode against these people. So why it's killed or be killed.
Yeah.
No, is it killed or be killed? No, kill or be killed.
I knew what you meant.
Get killed or get killed, right? And they're like, what?
Okay, so I think the audience have gleamed a bit from your personality there. So a bit of a road question now. We do tend
to go off on side tangents if you are new here.
Yeah, it's the best bit about BT, the BT podcast. If you were on a desert island, which I know you will be soon.
Well, let's just say it's not out of the realms of possibility. Like, I think if you got a phone call from a mysterious person in the middle of the night and said, somebody you know has been taken to a desert island, you'd probably be like, what did Toby do?
Yeah, you would definitely be the first person I think of. So if you were abandoned, marooned on a desert island, Pirates of the Caribbean style,
right?
Which 5 tools would you take with you and why?
Right, I wrote down 6 because I don't think one of them you will allow. So then I'll have one to like back it up or something.
Nice.
Right. My first question is bow and arrow one thing or two?
2.
Oh, that makes it even harder.
And an arrow is one thing. So if you have 2 arrows, that's 3 things that you're taking
Okay,
with you.
right. My first thing is a hammock.
A hammock. Okay.
My second thing, rope.
Okay.
Third thing, I forgot what it's called, but you know where you can turn it into drinking water.
Oh, one of those like straw things.
No, not like a straw thing, like the proper ones where you can almost get like a big, almost like a flask of it,
Okay.
and you can change it. So it'd be the one that I'm on about would probably roughly hold about 2 liters. So you get 2 liters from the sea, and then I think you'd have to leave it like a couple of hours whilst it naturally sort of clears it out.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's smart. Yeah.
Right, so that's 3 things, isn't it?
Yep.
Fourth thing, lighter.
Yep. That's a smart thing to take with you as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do stuff to make fire. I'm I'll just get a lighter. And then my last one. Well, the last one's easy then. The last one's got to be hammer.
You said hammer first, I think.
No, I said hammer.
Hammock. Okay, hammer. Oh, that's interesting. So you don't have anything to cut with, though. That's the only thing I can see lacking in this list.
Oh, right. Forget the hammer. Knife,
No,
because I wasn't gonna. I was gonna have the bow and arrow to kill the fish or people.
the people.
Like, you don't know who else was there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think you covered a lot of things. The hammock and the rope are very similar, but I guess you could use the hammock to sleep off the
yeah,
floor.
but the hammock's useless about the rope.
Yeah. No.
Keeps me off the ground, means I don't get my clothes all wet, don't have snakes or spiders crawling over me.
No, it's very smart. Yeah. Put in the comments what
What 5
5 things
things you would take?
exactly. Yeah. Put that in the comments below. Me and Toby will read through them.
What are yours, Bob?
Oh, mine! I didn't even think of any.
Yeah, this one I knew you wouldn't be ready. I just thought just sort of a quick fire. Would you take any of mine? Any of my stuff that I've taken?
So the first thing I thought of is a hatchet. Okay.
Yeah,
It's like a small axe. I take that because that could also be used as a hammer if you spin it round and hammer things in with it.
that's true.
So that's my sharp object that can also be used as a hammer. I'd also take a sort of tarp.
Right.
Sort of the same thing as your hammock, basically. I'd take a flare gun. To be used. Oh, does the flare count as an extra thing though? Maybe I'll just take a flare. I'll just to attract
No,
attention.
if you take a flare gun, you can have a bullet in the flare line.
Okay, a flare gun with a
See,
single flare.
I'm nicer to you when I'm leaving you on this island.
Oh, fair enough. Thank you very much. I take a decent amount of rope, like you did. Survival parachute string. So that's 4. And then I need.
Or you might just be into some kinky stuff.
Yeah. It's a pair of handcuffs is my last contribution.
But they're gonna be pink and fluffy.
Yeah, pink fluffy handcuffs. No, a full gimp mask. No, my last thing. I like your water purification thing. I'm gonna have that straw.
It's a must, bro. Like, you don't get dehydrated. You're on an island, so you have all the sea around you.
Yeah, I'm gonna use one of those weird straws that filters out stuff. I've seen a video of someone drinking from the sea from that straw. So
Oh well, if you've seen a video, Bob, then
it must be true. The internet has never
must
lied
be
to
true.
anyone.
Do you know, when I was younger, right? Whenever I got into like an argument or something, like, I used to always think anything is on TV is true. So I'd be like, but I saw it on the TV, and like, if I was in an argument with my mum, like, and she'd be like, well, no, you don't know about that. I'd be like, well, I saw it on the TV. My mum's like, oh, well, it must be true. And I was like, yeah. And then like, I didn't really get her sarcasm for like a while. So like, I genuinely was like, yeah, it's on the TV. It's got to be true.
Oh, bless you.
Well, when you're younger, so it makes sense. So like, how can they lie on TV?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to lie.
Okay. Well, what songs? If you could take 2 albums with you, which albums would you take, or individual songs?
Two songs. Yeah, that was the bit of the questions I didn't actually understand. 2 songs. I have absolutely. Give me 2 seconds. I have a quick look at my Spotify because there's got
So
to be something on. There's got to be something on here
I wrote
that
down "Sexy Bitch" by who's it by again?
David Gasser, I think.
Yeah, David Guetta. That's my first one that I think you'd pick. That's not my pick.
Oh, do you know what? I would go Friends in Low Places by the Sounds of Gareth Brooks.
Cool.
And then I would go with what's the other one? The one that's like turn them lights down low, put some music on a soft and slow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We ain't got no place to go.
I'll put it in the edit. But yeah. Come on, darling, turn the lights down low.
Your Man by Josh Turner.
You're a man, okay. It's a very like somber desert island you're
I'm
on.
getting drunk on my island. That's what I was thinking.
You don't have any alcohol though. That's
Well,
the
no,
issue.
I'm gonna raid the other people and then tie them up and then suffocate them in my hammock.
Wow. Not stab them with your knife. That would be too
Nope.
inhumane. You just strangle them with the rope.
I would put the knife down to show them that I wasn't a threat. And then I'd be like, look, I've just got the hammock. And then when he turns around to his friend, he's like, yeah, no, the knife's on the floor. Then boom, strangled. Look, we're in the wild. We're not talking about like in town.
No, you're right. You're right. You gotta kill or be killed.
Well, yeah, yeah. That's when you say, killed or be killed.
Yeah, killed or be killed.
Either way, you're dying.
So, talking about desert islands, I thought you might want to share with people what different countries you've lived in and what your thoughts are on those countries.
Yeah, all right. Well, I've lived in, this is not in order, but I've lived in England, Wales, France, Spain, Ireland, Malta. If I said Jersey?
You haven't said Jersey. It does count as different.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Am I missing one? If I said France?
You said France. Yeah. I think that's all of them that I can remember.
Yeah, I think that is all of them.
What's your top country out of those ones? What was your favourite one?
It 100% has got to be Malta. The people are really nice there. They love their football. The weather's nice. The food is awesome. It's like small, as in like everyone's like friendly and stuff like that, but it's big enough that you can go off and do your own thing.
Yeah.
And like I find that the people there are very like family orientated. Like you meet them and they're sort of like just sort of take you in like you've been friends for years.
Yeah, they've kind of got that Mediterranean feel, but they speak English.
Yeah, well, I was
Which is
about to
good.
say you got to remember for me when I went to Malta, that was the last country that I went to before I went and lived in Wales and Jersey. So I don't count me living in Jersey when I was really, really young. I only count me living in Jersey when I was there in year 7.
Okay.
Because I was in Wales, then I was in Jersey, then I went to a boarding school a military boarding school in Dover for a little bit. Then I went to homeschooling, then went back to Wales. And then I went to England for college. Yeah, but that was quite a lot of information at once.
Yeah, you've lived all over the place. So Malta was your favourite place that you have physically lived. Is it the country that you'd dreamed to move to, or do you have another country that you'd like to live in one day or move or visit?
See, I have always wanted to go to America, but I have a sort of love-hate with how I think I'm gonna be with America? Like, how do you think I would deal with America?
I'm not
I guess
sure.
it depends. It depends where you go. I would love. I think my personality. I think I would fit in a lot better in like Texas.
It's just what is your reasoning behind that? Just like a cowboy.
Yeah, they're like a cowboy, and no, but more so like they're. I feel like they're a little bit more like straight talking, like compared to like people in LA
Yeah, fair.
that are very caught up in the whole what they own and how many followers they got and all that.
Oh, fair enough. So Texas in America would be your dream place to visit or live for a short while. If you're from Texas, comment down below and tell Toby the best places to go in Texas.
And can you protect me from getting shot?
Yeah, that would be a major worry. I could see culture shock being a bit of an issue for you because Americans are they're like uncanny valley to British people where they're
Oh,
very
see, but
similar.
this what people talk about Americans like they're all one. And like it always gets to me because I'm there like we would be raging if they were saying that about us in Europe.
Yeah, but the way American people have like so for example, most Americans, you are right, individuals are different, but from
Like a
traveling in
state is
Spain and
usually bigger than most countries.
yeah, it's true. It's the size of Europe, and they have as many people as Europe as well. But from traveling in Spain and New Zealand and meeting quite a few Americans that are also traveling from all over America, you can tell that they're American just by, apart from the accent. So one of them is small talk. Americans will chat even when, as a British person, I wouldn't even begin to chat. And like, if you're like queuing at a shop and you haven't even seen each other, but you look sort of the same age, and maybe they've heard you speaking English, they'll just start talking to you. Which I know, like you're quite forward, you might do that in certain circumstances, but like queuing at a shop at like 9 a.m. to buy like I don't know.
I'm very chatty. I'm always chatting to people. Like I like having interactions with people that are like little ones.
Yeah, fair. No, but the Americans, it's just there is just something different. You can just kind of tell, but you are totally right. They are different in each state and each
I'd love to
city.
go watch some of like the ice hockey over there. I think
Yeah, or
that'd be
American
awesome.
football.
No, American football's too long.
Yeah, but they do all sorts of weird stuff. And basketball, I'd love to watch basketball.
Like, don't get me wrong, I would go and watch an NFL game. Like, basketball would be fun. But personally, I would want to go watch the ice hockey.
Ice
that
hockey
we're
is
hopefully doing at the end of this year.
yeah, the FPL, the Fantasy League loser is gonna have to
Well,
buy the winner a
it
drink.
looks like Aldi's gonna run away with it. Not gonna lie.
I'm fighting for my life at the bottom.
He doesn't look like he's slipping at all at the top.
Such a nerd. The
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you are right though. Obviously, Americans are totally different from one another. When I was in New Zealand, I got really good at guessing the accents that they had. So like they'd be talking to me and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm from America," and I'd be like, "Oh, you're from California," and they'd be like, "Oh, how do you know?" And they had a slightly different accent because I knew another guy from Boston and then someone from Texas. So they had like very different accents, even though they all sounded American. It was quite funny. But then they're all really chatty. That's the thing. That's the thing. They're all on
Do you
British
think that they were
terms.
all really chatty with you because you were British, though?
Yeah, but everyone in the hostel spoke some English. They just were really friendly people, and it's good. Americans are very friendly and very welcoming. British people just aren't. Unless I'm like this. It's like the guy talking to me in the Tesco's car park. I need to be ready for social interaction. I'm not ready. Yeah, I do. I do get a bit like I feel conscious if
I
I
think
don't ask them enough questions.
we all do it. We all leave conversations where we're like, oh, I sort of like completely fucked that conversation. But the way I always calm myself down about it is I don't think I've ever really walked away from a conversation and gone, they fucked it there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But maybe it's because I'm always the one that's been an idiot. I just think I'm being really nice. I'm just really dumb. But they do say that being dumb and kind go hand in hand, and being mean and smart go hand in hand. Like, if you look at stereotypical.
Yeah, I could see that. do that. So my next sort of line of questions for you, I'll set it up. I'll set the scene a bit. So Toby is the reason why we started brosBTalking. Well, I'm only saying that because we had a podcast before that Toby started. So I just wanted to know, what made you want to try making a podcast, Toby?
So I've always wanted to do a podcast, okay? But when I really started wanting to do it was when we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
I was working at a timber yard just before I went and worked in a care home. Whilst I was working in timber yard, it was one of the only things that was still open. So we're all still like wearing masks and stuff, but I had like different jobs to go and do. They were all like manual. I didn't really talk to anyone else that worked there. I just sort of got on, did my job. So whilst I was working, obviously I'd have my headphones in, like I'd get told what to do and go do it. So the best way to get through a day is I find that when you listen to music, after a song finishes, I can't help but think, oh, it's only been 3 minutes. So I started listening to podcasts. And then I started listening to podcasts that would remind me of like chatting with you boys and having a laugh.
Okay.
Because they would go over all the stuff that was going on, like in the world, in like sport and shit like that, but they would also just chill and have a chat about it, like without getting too deep about stuff. The one that I listened to was called Waffling, and that's got Joe Weller on it.
Yeah.
And there's 3 of them that are on it, and I was like, do you know what? I was like, why don't I sort of like, why don't we just do this? And I knew that you had been streaming for a while, so I knew that you knew what to do when it came to going live and like, you know, stuff like editing the videos, and you also had a community.
Yeah.
You had worked hard to have a bit of a community, so it was almost like I knew that, okay, we do that, it's not starting from like 0-0. Like there's going to be a little bit of people that, because you were able, because the first ones we did when we were doing the other podcast was we did it on your channel to start with.
Yeah.
I've always sort of wanted to do it, and I've always thought that once I stopped saying a million times, that I'd actually be quite good at it.
Yeah. I think you're quite good at chatting, and like you said, it just takes practice, doesn't it? We're all
And
learning.
it's trial and error, and it's also not expecting like miracles. Like people might laugh, like with us earlier, you know, when we were like, oh, I think it's got 40 views on our first YouTube video, and it's like, well, yeah, that's good. Like we did it on before, where our finale, like on live, it did, on Twitch it did really well, but on YouTube it only had like 3 views.
Yeah.
Like it's just we realized that we sort of we marketed it a little bit differently, I find.
So you kind of touched upon it there briefly, but what podcasts inspire you?
Right, so the podcasts that inspire me are waffling, and then what? Can I answer your other question of like what's my favourite one at the same time?
Yeah, you can answer it at the same time, yeah.
It's either Joe. Oh no, the one, you know, the question if you had to listen to a pod.
Oh, yeah. I could just ask that now. So if you had to select one podcast to listen to for the rest of your life, which would it be?
Now I've gone with either Joe Rogan,
Okay.
or True Geordie. Now, Joe Rogan, because the wide variety of guests he has on, he has some very smart people. I'd be able to keep up with all the stuff that was going on in MMA, boxing, and in world news.
Yeah.
And hear about lots of different sort of stuff. And also, I just like listening to him talk, and he is really funny as well.
Fair enough.
The other person I've picked is True Geordie, and it's because he keeps up with the influencer boxing, he keeps up with the UFC, and he keeps up with the football, and he also keeps up with gossip.
Okay. So
So
it kind
like,
of touches
you
upon
know what I
different
mean?
things.
He literally covers everything that I would watch anyways.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Between those
yeah.
two.
So Joe Rogan, but if that is too boring of an answer, I would change it to True Geordie.
No, fair enough. So we've learnt a bit about what your podcast, the kind of podcasts you listen to. You did mention that you're a bit of a sitcom nerd. What is your favorite TV show?
Right. I've written 3 because I'm gonna have to discuss it and
Okay.
figure out which one. So first of all, my honourable mention before I get into the 3 main ones was Cobra Kai, just because I am always really excited when the next season's coming out.
Fair enough.
Because it's one of the only shows other than like House of the Dragon and Rick and Morty that I watch before it's all finished. I like watching something once it's all finished. So if I want to binge it, I can. I don't have to wait like a year.
Fair enough, yeah.
Because think about it, it was like with Game of Thrones. I didn't start watching Game of Thrones until after the 7th season was released.
Yeah, that's pretty late.
And then I was still waiting around for ages for season 8.
Yeah.
And that was still shit. But I'm not even going to get into that. That was depressing.
Favorite
But I
TV
still
show?
think it's better than people give it credit for.
Yeah, my dad watched it recently, and he says it's better than he remembered. He rewatched it. Sorry.
We do need to get your dad on so I can talk to him about the Flash.
You'll need to catch
I
up.
do think that we do need to have like a 5-minute segment maybe of me talking about the night his mum died because it is so confusing.
What? The Flash, not my dad.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have been way more specific then. Everyone's listening like, what are we listening to right now?
So you mentioned Cobra Kai. What's your other 2?
Right, and then the top 3 are Friends.
Yep.
The Office.
Okay.
And How I Met Your Mother. Do you know, as I'm saying that, take away, or no, maybe honourable mention Modern Family.
Okay, so you've now said 5 TV shows for your favourite TV show.
I told you I'm a bit of a nerd.
So if you had to only ever watch one more TV show and then like you're banned from ever watching TV again, so it's like the final experience of a TV sort of sitcom comedy, which one would you pick?
From start to finish, watching them one more time.
Yeah, then you're never allowed to watch TV again.
It would be How I Met Your Mother.
Fair enough. There
Am
you
I
go.
allowed to rewatch it?
No. It's the final time you get to watch TV. You get to just binge How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, I would go How I Met Your Mother.
Fair enough. What's your favorite film series?
Favorite film series? There's the obvious one, Harry Potter.
Nerd.
And then the other one is Avengers. And I sort of mean Avengers, Assemble, Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2.
Oh, so the sort of early Marvel stage crossover ones.
Yes, up until the end of Stage 4, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Because
Stage
they
3 or
really
4.
started to mess the whole Marvel thing up, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to? Maybe we should save that as like a topic for a podcast.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, we'll actually get facts about it.
So just quickly, we'll blow through. I knew you were going to say Harry Potter, so I wrote down who's your favorite Harry Potter character and why is it Harry himself?
Right, my favorite Harry Potter character. Do you remember me telling you this? Because I told you this a few times, and you're always surprised.
Okay, it's Dobby.
No.
Oh.
It's Remus.
Oh, Remus. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I Remus is my favorite character. I don't know why.
You can't explain why. Fair enough.
I think it's because when I was younger, I always was there. Like, I'd like to grow up to be like him, because it was like the way I saw it was he was a bit of a shit when he was younger, but like, you know, he's sort of right now.
It's pretty sensible when he grew up. Yeah, that's fair. And he's a werewolf, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
he's a scary werewolf.
He's very loyal. He's a very loyal person, and he's a good, like, you know what I mean. He's a good person.
Yeah, he is nice. And to be honest, I like him more than I like Sirius Black, because although Sirius Black is meant to be closer with Harry, in the films, I feel like Remus does a little bit more for Harry, because he's introduced a bit earlier.
Well, yeah, and also when in the Order of the Phoenix, isn't it Remus that goes and gets him? Oh no, Remus is waiting at the house, isn't he? Because
Yeah.
they do the flying scene, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, Harry and Dudley get attacked by the Dementors, and
Yeah.
then the Order come to go get Harry to take him to the safe house, and then Remus and Sirius are there.
Yeah, yeah, but I think as well because Sirius dies earlier than so. Sirius is introduced as like a friend to Harry later than Remus, and then he dies earlier than Remus. So I feel like, although I understand that maybe in the books or whatever, I'm only going off the films.
I'd agree with you. Like, he's my favorite character. Like, you're not gonna have any arguments with me there.
Yeah, I'm arguing with the audience. I'm arguing with someone imaginary. I just feel like he was a bit closer. It's like Mad Eye Moody. Like I understand that maybe in the books, him and Harry shared a lot more, but he doesn't really talk to Harry.
But then Mad Eye Moody, this is the thing that people forget. Everyone goes, "Oh yeah," but I'm like, Mad Eye Moody actually has hardly any scenes where he is Mad Eye Moody.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'd say 70% of his cameos is him, not him. It's the Barty Crouchy or something.
Yeah, Barty Crouch or something. The best Death Eater, because he's like the craziest.
Well, yeah, no, he was the smartest, and he did it for such a long time. And the one I remember when I watched it the first time, and maybe even the second time, is I didn't clock on about the Polyjuice potion going missing, because remember Snape's there like, hang on, the stuff's going missing, and then we just sort of almost assumed, it's just Snape being a dick again.
Yeah.
Like, and no one questioned it because he's been a dick the whole time. Everyone's like, fair, classic Snape.
We'll get into a deep Harry Potter lore discussion one podcast, I am sure. Moving on from your favorite character, which is Remus. Why do you think you enjoyed Harry Potter so much growing up, and why do you think other people really like it?
I think I'll answer other people first. I think other people enjoy it because it reminds them of their childhood. Also, it can be quite a Christmassy sort of film.
Yeah,
it is a family film, so you can watch it where like the kids will enjoy it, but also the adults will enjoy it as well.
Yeah, that's true. And
I think the fact that there's nothing else really like it.
Yeah,
like when you go to compare something to Harry Potter, you go to something like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, maybe. Like, and they're such different things, and they're all in their own elements as well.
No,
and
that's fair.
I think everyone knows that if you try to do anything to do with wizards, it would almost just seem like a rip-off of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But obviously, Fantastic Beasts is within the Harry Potter universe, so it was a lot easier.
And they're not as good. I'm sorry, they're just not as good as the Harry Potter
film.
I
didn't think they're as good, and yeah, lots of it doesn't really make sense. And then they had to recast Johnny Depp, didn't they?
Yeah.
That was stupid because he ended up winning the case.
No, I know, but they do it just to protect themselves, don't they, from future scrutiny?
I think that's mad.
No, I think you raised some decent points about other people why people like Harry Potter. I think as well it's about school and sort of growing up, which is something that everyone really experiences at some point, you know.
Well, I was about to say, on that point, is the reason why I liked it is when I was younger, I was always like, because I always felt like I was a bit older, and like even when I was younger, I did like think a bit older than I should. And I want to know what the older people were thinking of. So when I would watch something like Harry Potter, I would watch them in the later years when I was in like year 7, right?
Yeah.
And then I'd start to see the conversations that they were having in the Order of the Phoenix and the Goblet of Fire when the film started getting more darker.
When it was ramping up.
That's like growing up. And it does do a representation of what life is like. You think about school, like year 7 and 8 was a bit like the Philosopher's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. Like, I remember when I went to a bit of a tangent, but I remember when I went to military school, and I went to a boarding school where there was 4 different houses, and I went in and I had a roommate, and I remember saying to him, I was like, well, you know, I just sort of been thinking it might be a bit like Hogwarts. And he was like, he just like sort of snapped at me and was like, why would you think that? And I was like, well, because we're at a boarding school and there's 4 houses. Like, well, I don't think I'm magical, but. And no, and what I used to do is I used to watch all the Harry Potters. But before I was going to sleep, I'd always have a Harry Potter on because I like having something on in the background whilst I was going to sleep.
Yeah.
And when I was in year 7, I would binge watch The Philosopher's Stone, and then year 8, Chamber of Secrets, and so on and so forth.
Nerd.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know, it's just a bit of a comfort thing. But I didn't watch Harry Potter for about 2 years about 2 years, because I just needed a break from it because I wanted to enjoy it again.
Oh, fair enough.
But I
Good
haven't
idea.
really sat down and watched a whole film of it in ages. Because I'll put it on at night and I'll be like, oh, I'll watch it, and I'll fall asleep. Because it's just like my brain goes, oh, Harry Potter, and just falls asleep.
No, fair enough. What's the best Harry Potter moment in your opinion to finish
So
off Harry Potter?
I've got 2 of them. So I'm gonna say my main one, then I'll sort of say my honourable mention one after. So my main one is in The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yep.
And it's when Harry, you know, when they go into the Whomping Willow.
Yeah.
And then he goes into the room to see Ron on the bed, and there's Sirius Black in the corner, and it's when Harry finds out that it's Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah.
And Sirius, like, you know what I mean? He finds out everything. I love that's probably one of my best moments because that was a bit of a whoa.
Yeah, and the weird haunted shack. Yeah.
And my honourable mention is a really weird one. I don't think anyone else would say this for top moments, but is Deathly Hallows Part 1 when they go to get Harry from the Dursleys' house on Privet Drive. And, you know, they all take Polyjuice Potion and they all become a Harry. And then each Harry has a protector. And then they fly to the safe house and they have the fight in the air.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a good sort of scene, isn't it? It kind of builds
Yeah,
up
and
tension.
Mad Eye dies, Hedwig dies, and then Harry and Voldemort's wands collide. And then that was after, like, Voldemort's like, what the fuck? I'm using a different one now. Why is this still happening?
Yeah. No,
So
that's a
yeah,
good scene.
those were my best moments.
So football is another big part of your life, as you mentioned in your little intro segment. When did you
I do
start
love footy.
liking football?
I've always loved football. Like, I've always loved football. I can't remember me not liking football.
Fair enough.
I don't remember me starting football.
It's just always been a part of you. A proper
Like,
British lad there.
as soon as I can remember when there was playtime, it was football.
So who inspired you early on? Do you remember anyone when you were younger that you thought, oh, I want to be a footballer like them?
Like, don't get me wrong, I did have my idols, but I was just very competitive. I just wanted to win.
No, fair enough.
I didn't really know much about all the sports that was going on. Like, obviously, I loved Thierry Henry, being a massive Arsenal fan. But to be honest with you, it was just my competitive nature that kept me going. And then my older brother played football at the time as well. And I knew that to hang out with the older boys when they'd play football, the best way to get picked was to be good at football.
Fair enough.
And I was quite quick, so I just learned how to finish. And then I knew that I could kick the ball past people, run past them, and then shoot. But weirdly enough, I'm now in goal for 2 different teams. I've got a game tomorrow. Guess what time my game is tomorrow?
I don't know. 6 o'clock in the evening?
I wish.
Is it
Hang on.
9 in the morning?
Yeah, I think it. 10 past 9 kickoff.
Oh, geez, that is tough on a Wednesday. Aren't people doing stuff on Wednesdays?
Oh, I've just looked on the group chat at Toby, you playing, and then the next comment needed big time.
Vital. He's a vital part of the team. So,
Well, even though we're like, I think there's like 8 teams in the league. I think we're like 5th. I'm joint top joint goalkeeper of clean sheets, and then in my league in the 5-a-side, I'm 2nd in the league and 1st. I've got double our points, but also we've got the best of so I'm doing all right.
you're doing really well. Yeah, you're doing really well.
At the
So,
beginning, I was doing horrific. When I first started playing football again, like we were getting put in the wrong divisions. We were barely making teams up. I managed to get knocked out when I was playing at uni by getting kicked in the
yeah,
back of the
that's not
head by
good.
my own teammate.
That's not good.
But it did stop the ball going in, so I feel like
It was worth it. Sacrifice. Necessary sacrifice.
What do you reckon, Bob? What should I reply saying I'll be there or not? Because I still don't know. I'm still a bit like.
You gotta go. You gotta go. You're needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say turn up. The podcast decrees you should go.
I'm like, yeah, go on then.
You mentioned that you support Arsenal. How long have you supported Arsenal for?
I've supported Arsenal since 2006 Champions League final when they played Barcelona and they lost, and I supported Arsenal because I was a Real Madrid fan. Still am a Real Madrid fan, but I just follow Arsenal more closely because obviously I live in the UK. The Premier League's more competitive, and if Arsenal and Real Madrid played, I would be cheering for Arsenal. But if Real Madrid won, I'd be like, it is what it is.
Yeah, a bit like me with the internationals.
Yeah,
Yeah, fair.
exactly the same.
No, that's interesting. So you like an underdog, and you just liked Arsenal in 2006. That's fair enough. If you could play in one season of football, Premier League football of all time, if you could just you'd be whatever position you want, you'd be inserted into a team, any team in the Premier League. Which one would you pick?
I've got 2 answers. Either Arsenal 03-04 for the unbeaten season.
Good pick.
No, or if it was like it was 2003, I think it's 02-03.
Yeah, yeah.
The invincible season.
Yeah.
Or this season in Arsenal.
Okay. Why this season?
And I would play anywhere.
Yeah, you're just happy to be
If
involved.
they want to put me in goal, like he's already dicking around with Ramsdale.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on Ramsdale, but he may come up later.
Talking of Ramsdale, which players do you think are currently underrated or not talked about enough on your sports podcasts?
You read my mind. My one was Aaron Ramsdale. He was in Team of the Year last year.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything wrong, and then we've taken him out, brought in a keeper that was making mistakes a bit at the beginning. Like he's a decent keeper, Raya, but I prefer Ramsdale, and we now need a striker. And Arsenal then turn around and go, well, the thing is, guys, we don't really have any money. And we're like, yeah, but aren't we buying Raya? And they're like, well, yeah. And it's like, well, we already got a goalkeeper. And they're like, yeah. And it's like, isn't he probably going to go to one of our rivals? And they're like, well, Like, I think he should be England's number 1, but with him not getting game time, it's got to be Pickford.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Yeah, I'd say that. And then everyone I've sort of thought of, I'd say they're underrated. And then I thought, oh no, hang on, I've heard loads of people talking about they're underrated. So actually, they're not underrated.
Yeah, you were trying to pick one outside the box.
Yeah.
Right. So the final question, following that sort of line of questioning again, what do you think people take for granted / generally underrate just in life or about anything?
And see, this is really the one I should have wrote notes on.
Yeah, this one's the hardest one, I think.
Right, repeat the question again.
So, talking about underrated football players,
Yeah.
what do you think people sort of take for granted in general life or underrate in general? So it could be anything. You could say Greg's pizzas or something.
I would say I'm going to go really corny here and go phone calls,
Phone calls.
like
Why?
like talking to each other.
Fair. What do you
Like
think people think of it?
when people have got loads of time and you're sort of like chilling with each other, you're not saying anything, and then it gets to a time where you can barely, like, it's hard to see your friends and stuff. You sort of wish that you'd used that time before.
Yeah. No, it's a good answer.
That's why I always try and talk to people in my life as much as I can. So no matter what happens, I would never be like, oh, I wish I was talking to them more. But like, well, I kept in contact with them as much as I could, and they did the same for me.
Yeah. No, and you do call us, all your friends, quite a lot. You call me like twice a week. One is for the pod.
I don't call as much anymore, to be fair.
No, you don't, to be fair. It's mostly about the pod now.
Oh, no, I think that is that's an interesting. I was going to ask you a question about that. Do you find that it's sometimes hard to distinguish when we're talking me and you and when we're talking pod?
Yeah, it's quite difficult because we've
Because
got the chat.
have I ever called and have you ever thought, oh, this is about the pod, I can talk to him about another time?
Yes,
Because it'd
yeah.
be interesting if you ever did, and it was not that I can think of a moment, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, well, often what it is I think, oh, he wants to talk about the pod, and then we don't talk about the pod, and I don't mind that. It's just, like you said, it's something that I just think, oh, like, I wonder what Toby's going to say about the pod, and then if we don't really cover it, we don't really cover it, and but it's, it's not bad. I think it works quite well because we're not big, we can talk about the pod, we don't have to. If it was like a business, then we'd have to really section our time to actually like properly discuss it.
But to be honest with you, I would say that we talk more about stuff on what, like, guests to have, what we want to do with editing, posting, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Than we actually do. Like,
Recently, yeah.
By the way, anyone listening, if you're able to write in the comments, or if you're able to follow us on Instagram and give us a DM if you want to play Among Us with us.
And I'll add you to the Discord if you put your Discord name in. But thank you for the interview, Toby. I thought you communicated what you were into quite well. I think everyone got quite a good look
Well, I
into
was
your
about to
life.
say the thing is that because I can go off on such side tangents, is that we could have easily talked about like the Marvel for about an hour.
Yeah, I did avoid that one.
Or Harry Potter or football. But I think that the interview sort of covered different bits, and then it means that next time we do it, we can maybe go into depth about one of the things.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. If you are listening to it on YouTube, if you're able to drop us a like, that would be really appreciated.
Yeah.
If you're able to leave us a comment, anything you guys want us to talk about, let us know, and we'll put it in, and we'll more than likely talk about it. Any like film theories or anything nerdy, we would definitely love.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anything cool to talk about? Anything you want to hear?